Senator Bernie Sanders dropped by. Hey, Senator, welcome back to the program.
Hey, good to be with you, Thom. How are you?
I am well. The latest news thing that flew by me that had your name attached to it, not from you, but in the news, was your talking back to Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm curious your thoughts on that, and also what else is going on in the world today that you would like to comment on.
There are one or two minor things going on in the world today, I think, but.
Yeah.
In terms of Netanyahu and the Rashida and Ilan, members of the United States Congress, it just seems to me to be absurd that Israel and Netanyahu thinks that they can deny a United States congressperson the right to visit their country. I have been to Israel numerous times. I've been all over the world. And members of Congress are welcome and invited into those countries to learn about what's going on, to speak to the leaders and so forth. And the idea that two members of the United States Congress, maybe because of their religion, they're Muslim, maybe because of their political views, they're progressive, they are denied access to Israel is unacceptable. And what I said yesterday, I repeat, the United States provides billions and billions of dollars in aid to Israel. And if Israel does not think that members of the United States Congress should be able to visit their country, maybe they want to politely refuse to accept any more money from this country. So that's the bottom line. And I think what Netanyahu is doing, what Trump has done on this issue, is racist, is outrageous, it is unacceptable, and it's one more reason why we have to make sure that Trump is not reelected to the presidency.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Well, what else is on your radar screen these days?
Well, there's a lot that's on. I mean, we've been running all over the country. And I'll tell you something that I'm feeling very good about. I think the message of Medicare for all is resonating very strongly all across America. And it's not just all of the polling that I've been seeing, which says that a majority of the American people, when they understand the issue, now support Medicare for all. But I think it has everything to do with the incredible dysfunctionality and incredible waste of the current healthcare system. It is very hard for our opponents to defend the system in which we are spending, Thom, and this is an important point not made often enough, we are spending twice as much per capita on healthcare as do the people of any other industrialized nation. We're spending almost $11,000 a year. And for that, what we end up with is some 87 million Americans are underinsured or uninsured completely. We have 30,000 people every year die because they don't get to a doctor when they should. Unbelievably, this is really quite unbelievable. On top of all that, you got 500,000 people go bankrupt in America because they cannot pay off their incredible medical bills that they have for a serious illness. So you take a step back and you think, how does it happen that families get ruined financially for what crime did they commit? And the crime they committed, I guess, is somebody in the family got cancer or heart disease or some other terrible illness. That's insane. So I think people catch on to the fact that a Medicare for All program, the legislation I've introduced in the Senate, would guarantee health care to all people with no deductibles, no co-payments, no out-of-pocket expenses. We'd expand benefits to include dental care, hearing aids, eyeglasses. And at the end of the day, after a 4-year phase-in, it will cost substantially less per person for health care as we are now paying. Because right now, we're paying for it with premiums and out-of-pocket expenses and co-payments. And we're paying for it in some ways with people dying because they can't get to a hospital when they need. So I'm very excited about the kind of progress that we're making on Medicare for All.
That's good news.
It is. And the other part of that equation is we are seeing more and more consciousness about the greed and illegal behavior of the pharmaceutical industry, where you have a handful of corporations, in many cases, in insulin, for example, controlling the price of a product and charging us 10 times more than our Canadian neighbors are paying. And one of the things that Medicare for All will do is cap the amount of money that we spend for prescription drugs at $200 per person. And we do that by substantially lowering the cost of prescription drugs in this country, by having Medicare negotiate prices with the drug companies and looking what other countries are paying. So we are going to be taking on the insurance companies We're going to move to Medicare for all. We're going to take on the pharmaceutical industry. We're going to cut their prices very substantially. And I think we're making some progress in that area.
Now, during the Bush administration, when they passed this Medicare Part D thing with Billy Towson, promoting it, I know you were speaking out loudly on this program, actually, about this. The law says that the Medicare, which is arguably the largest purchaser of pharmaceuticals in the United States, may not negotiate prices. They have to pay full retail. So if that...
And Tom, remind the audience, just in case some of them may have forgotten, who Billy Towson was. He was then a congressman from Louisiana.
Right. Yeah, he was a congressman.
And what did he do? Let me shock the people to tell what happened to Billy Towson after he left the Congress.
Yeah, he got a job for, I think, $2 million a year as the head of PhRMA, the big lobbying group for the pharmaceutical industry.
Aren't we shocked by that?
Yeah. Well, not only that, he got a waiver from the Republican Speaker of the House, I forget who it was at the time, or which one it was, so that he could leave Congress a few months early to take this job.
Right. I mean, that's the corruption that you're dealing with in the Congress right now. Here's a guy who writes the drug bill, says that Medicare cannot negotiate prices. The result is the prices are far higher in the United States than any other country on earth. It's shock of all shocks. A little while later, he leaves Congress to go to work for the pharmaceutical industry. And over the years, he made a whole lot of money working for that industry. But that's what we're up against right now.
Yeah.
And what the point of the campaign that we're running is to tell the American people that we are not going to do the things that most Americans want, and that is move to Medicare for all, lower the cost of prescription drugs, break up the large banks on Wall Street, take on the fossil fuel industry, unless we have what amounts to a political revolution where millions of people understand that we've got to stand up and fight back, or else you continue to see the kinds of reality, the same as went on with Billy Towson, and that is, the companies determine what happens rather than ordinary people.
Yeah. One of the other big issues that a lot of people are talking about is climate change. And this is particularly a concern for younger people, although I would say, even us old farts, we have children and grandchildren, and we should be concerned about the fate and future of the world and the human race. Where is Congress at on doing anything about climate change? Obviously, Trump is nuts on this, but what are your thoughts?
Right.
Where do we go?
What you have, and it's the same stories, the same as the gun safety issues, the same. I caught the end of the segment you just did, but when we're talking about the cyber hacking into American elections and the need to protect us from Russian intervention or anybody else. On all of these issues, you have a Republican. Does the Democratic Party do enough? No. Does the Republican Party do anything? Absolutely not. So here is the issue of climate change. The leading scientists all over the world have told us that not only is climate change real, but it is already causing devastating problems. And they have told us if we don't get our act together in the next 11 to 12 years, a very short period of time, that there will be underlined irreparable damage done in our country and around the world. We are talking about the future of the planet we call Earth, our home. And yet we have a president who doesn't acknowledge the reality of climate change. You've got leadership in the United States Senate, Mitch McConnell and others, who have refused to bring up any serious legislation dealing with climate change. And they are threatening the entire planet. At the end of the day, what we have got to do is to understand that climate change, of course, is not just an American issue. It's a global issue. We need leadership in the White House, which will go out to the rest of the world and say, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, instead of spending $1.5 trillion every year on weapons of destruction designed to kill each other, maybe we want to spend those resources and more in taking on our common enemy, which is climate change. And maybe, just maybe, we can create throughout the world tens and tens of millions of dollars transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel.